I did not expect to love this book. In fact, I went into Jane Eyre expecting polite suffering, fainting couches, and 200 pages of repressed emotions. Instead, I found one of the smartest, most emotionally honest novels I've read in years. And now it's living rent-free in my head. Hello, BookTube! Today's video is a little different as I'm veering a little bit off of the speculative fiction track, and I'm genuinely excited about it. I was invited by the BookTube channel, Kim, the lifelong reader, to do a buddy read of the novel Jane Eyre by Charlotte Brontë. And I'll be honest with you up front. I went into this one with expectations that were, let's say, wildly off the mark. So here's a little background first about me. Aside from a few Sherlock Holmes stories, this is really the first Victorian novel that I've read since over 50 years ago in high school when we were assigned Charles Dickens' Great Expectations. And like many people, I associated Victorian novels with dense prose, stiff characters, and something that you read because you have to, not because you want to. But I've also made it a personal goal for 2026 to read more classics, and this buddy read felt like the perfect way to ease back into that world with accountability, conversation, and a bit of shared enthusiasm. Now, let me confess something. I was expecting Jane Eyre to be some kind of romantic chick lit. Lots of yearning, lots of melodrama, maybe windswept moors. Something worth reading, sure, but not necessarily engaging. What I discovered instead completely blindsided me. Now, I'm not going to give any spoilers, so don't worry about that. In fact, I'm not even really going into plot details because that can tell you too much, really. What Jane Eyre is actually is a smartly written, deeply engaging story with characters who feel fully alive. Jane herself is observant and moral without being sanctimonious, emotionally complex, and, this surprised me most, relatable. Her experiences of isolation, moral conflict, longing for connection, and insistence on personal integrity above all, it feels timeless. Bronte's writing is poetic but readable. It's rich in imagery and description, but never indulgent. This is not a book you have to muscle through. It flows. And underneath the story is a thoughtful exploration of societal mores and expectations, class, gender, religion, independence, and what it means to live ethically in a world that doesn't always reward integrity. From a purely technical standpoint, this is a tightly plotted novel. It's lonely by design, emotionally so, and that loneliness is part of its power. The pacing is excellent. There's no dead space and no sense that Bronte is just stalling or uh, padding the narrative. And the ending, it's solid, satisfying, and earned. There are no cheap coincidences, no ridiculous plot contrivances, no sudden violations of character just to, tie things up neatly. It ends where it does because it should end there. And here's the thing that really seals it for me. It's been over a month since I finished reading Jane Eyre, and it's still occupying my headspace. I find myself thinking about scenes, lines, and moral choices long after I've closed the book. I'm not someone who's much into rereading books unless it's been, decades. And yet I'm already looking forward to rereading this one in the coming year. That alone tells me everything I need to know about this book. It's a keeper. This book easily jumps into the top tier of my favorite books that I've ever read. Not just favorite classics, but favorite books, period. And I did not expect to come away from this read saying that. So if you've been avoiding, Victorian literature or Jane Eyre in particular, because you think it's dry, overly romantic, or outdated, or you feel that it's, considered important in a way that, feels more academic than enjoyable, well, let me assure you, this book is alive. It's emotionally intelligent, it respects the reader, and it proves that a novel written nearly 2 centuries ago can still speak directly to modern concerns about identity, autonomy, love, and self respect. So, a huge thanks to Kim, the lifelong reader, for inviting me to take part in this buddy read. It pushed me out of my comfort zone in the best possible way. And if you've read Jane Eyre, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you haven't, consider this a nudge. Read it. Sometimes a classic isn't a classic just because it's old. Sometimes it's a classic just because it's that good. So until next time, happy reading.